7 spirits of deceit, which I repented. 7 spirits, therefore, are appointed against man, and these are the leaders of works of youth. And the 7 spirits are given to him at his creation, and through them should be done every work of man. The first spirit of life, Chai, Uhai, which is the constitution, which the constitution of man is created. The second is the sense of sight, which arises desire. The third is the sense of hearing, which cometh teaching. The fourth is the sense of smell, which tastes are given to draw air and breath. The fifth is the power of speech, which cometh knowledge. The sixth is the sense of taste, which cometh the eating of meats and drinking, and is by strength is produced. For in food is the foundation of strength. The seventh is the power of procreation and sexual intercourse, which through love of pleasure sin enters in, whereof it is the last in order of creation, and the first in that of youth, because it is filled with ignorance and leadeth the youth as a blind man to a pit and as a beast to a precipice. Now, Elder Lekanganye, I direct this one to you. Having read that text, this is the spirit of Tatanzambi, which gives life. Then in Revelation, we hear of 7 other spirits being mentioned, speaking to the churches. So what is your understanding of this? Because are these the similar spirits, or are we looking at something through the lens that we should not look at it? Elder Lekanganye, you're the tree with the apples, so we throw stones.
It's not easy, but I know the Most High gives wisdom. Now, from the testament of Reuben, the firstborn of our father, Yakubi, what came out was that these are the spirits that one should subdue. In other words, these are spirits that one should master, because the last spirit of sexual intercourse and the one that is prevalent and leads to the sins of youth, as he has put it. When you look at now what it says in Isaiah, I think we can go ahead, and what has come to my spirit is that we can go ahead and try to place each of those spirits and see where, because now Isaiah, it's like it gives you power to subdue what is not righteous in man. Because now when you look at even that need for food, while it is good for sustenance, if it is not mastered, it will lead to gluttony, and it will lead to your stomach becoming an idol. And that is why we should fast and pray, so that we'll be enabled to subdue these spirits of want of food and satisfaction of the stomach. It's not bad in itself, but it needs proper balance. Otherwise, it's going to be to the detriment of somebody. Now, even we know that without the Spirit, it is the Spirit from the Most High that gives us life. But human life, when it is not properly guided and guarded, is going to go to naught. So we need, for the fullness of the Spirit, there must be another spirit from Tatanzania to enable you and to strengthen you. So what I'm seeing is that the spirit, what you have talked about in the testament of Reuben, and what is there in Isaiah they are working hand in hand. And you have to ask the Most High to fill you with this spirit. Because now, if, as we are told that when in the youth, he walked in the foolishness of youth. And what happened? He ended up sleeping with Bilhah. Yeah, he ended up sleeping with Bilhah, who was one of his father's wives. Why? Because he did not master that strength. He did not master that spirit that was in him of sexual intercourse and all that. I mean, he was unable to that desire, that he was unable to master it. So, if you allow me, let me read the other spirit so that we may be able to see, perhaps, and even at our own time, we'll be able to look at what you read for us once more, so that we can try and see how we can place them together.
Okay,
right?
Much obliged, Elder Lekanganye. So
yes,
we go over the spirits hand in hand, or we deal with one spirit at a time?
let me read through, because now it's not that I had prepared and I would say that this spirit will go with this one.
Here we are prepared to ask the tough questions, Elder Lekanganye.
Yes, and then also we need also to come in, because again, remember, we know in part. Even what
Agreed.
I know in part. What you know in part. What Wamboi knows in part. What our sister Nyambura knows in part. But when we bring those parts together, and then the Mwanda and Semi comes in, then you can be sure it shall be something good that will keep us going and leading us to all truth, because we need to go to the truth. We do not want to go into deceit. We want to go into
the truth.
Because the truth shall set us free.
Kembo Natata Nzambi. So he starts with the 7 spirits of deceit. Spirits that are supposed to deceive the sons of Muntu.
Yeah.
The 7 other spirits, but then he talks of 7 other spirits.
Yes.
That are given to him at his creation, and through them should be done every work of man. Like these spirits that they allow man to exist. He talks of the first being the spirit of life, of course. He is the giver of life.
Yes.
With him, the spirit of Uhai, as the fake Hebrews would want to say, exists in him. Then he talks of a second spirit, the spirit of sight. When we go back to Isaiah, we see that he will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, or his mouth. These are the key organs that have been, the same key organs have been brought that are in Reuben. We see life in its beginning, the beginning of the beginning of the judgment of the living and the dead. There's the second spirit of sight. Them that have eyes but do not see.
True.
We have the spirit of the sense of hearing. We have the sense of smell. Speech, power of the tongue.
Yes.
So, and then there's procreation, multiply and fill the earth. So we can see that Tata Nzambi is an actual genius.
True.
He is an actual genius, because whatever the nations have made us to perceive as senses are actually spirits that need to be mastered.
Yes, true.
Am I getting you correct? I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps Nyambura can come in with a different perspective, or Elder, you can add on that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there to you, my panel, to bring this to an understanding. Nyambura, I don't know if
before Nyambura goes, let me just reread Isaiah 11, verse 2. It says, and the spirit of Tatanzambi shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Tatanzambi. Verse 3, and shall make him of quick understanding. We need quick understanding. Remember, there is a time we said, this is a time the Most High is quickening, hastening. Yeah, our understanding is hastening. You know, whoever is suckling should be able to eat the meat from the bones and spew the bones. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Tatanzambi. Remember, the fear of Tatanzambi is the beginning of
wisdom.
Yes. And he shall not judge after the sight. This is where you've read. He shall not judge after the sight of his eyes. Why? How can he judge from the sight of his eyes if he has the spirit of counsel and the spirit of understanding?
You know, John.
Right? Yes.
I think when most of the time we've been talking with you, when I'm asking a lot of questions, you've been telling me to pray about it, pray about it.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe you're together in spirit because okay, I am unlearning most of the things.
True.
But as much as I was praying about it, and I felt like my spirit was leading me to know more about Most High, like his intentions for me or for the world. And I didn't want like pride to be like overcome by pride, like the way you're saying. Like I'm a child, I'm the chosen one, and I'll be like, okay, now the pride. But I was telling the Most High, like, show me how to ever get to know about you more. And I want like to have what is my purpose, as much as I'll know my history, where I come from, what happened, but okay, what next? I want to know. So how will I please you? So I feel like your word for today is really based on probably what I've been struggling with. And I saw another word written like he qualifies the called. He doesn't call the qualified. So when I saw that he qualifies, well, the Most High qualifies the called, because you may not be qualified when he's calling you, and then when he calls you, he qualifies you, because I may not know anything, and I ask myself, okay, now did you lead me to this path, and I know nothing about it, and I feel your word for today is really opening my eyes and showing me the direction where I'm asking the Most High, like to get to know about you more. And because he's the Most High, he's the one who can judge. And the fact that you're saying he doesn't see with his eyes. And the more you're telling us about the spirit, and you said about how David was anointed and his spirit came on him, and I find my heart telling me, like, I want to be in a place where you can see me and allow your spirit to come in me, so that you can know my purpose and why am I, now that I know the path that I should be. And I feel it's a really good word for today.
Kembo, to all the glory to our Father. It's good to hear that. So we know that we are in his will and his purpose. Remember, he has not called us because we deserve it more than others. He has not called us because I'm better, I'm sinless, I'm perfect. No, that's not what he has done. He has called us. He has called me out of his love for me. He has called you out of his love for you. Because remember, there is a story that he gives in I think in Jeremiah about how he found his soul wallowing in, in the blood, where she had been born, and she was not washed yet, and she was just lying on her blood, and he took her and washed her, cleansed her, and nurtured Isolele, and then went ahead and loved Isolele. Okay, but okay, it's not because we deserved it. And in fact, somewhere else he says, when I called Isolele, it's not because Isolele was a big nation. It's not because, was a glorious nation. It's not because was a nation to reckon with. No. He loved Isolele and picked Isolele from, among the nations of the earth. And the same thing he has done. There are so many in Isole. There are so many Bantus, so many. But how many has he awoken? There are many that he has not awoken, but he has awakened us. He has told us there is more to what we learned in church. There is more to what we have been told. And of course, we have seen some of these things. Like remember, there is something I placed on our wall today about Jesus Christ. I mean, we didn't know that, yet we use the name. We use the name of Jesus. What has the Most High done? He has called us, and he's qualifying us. Of course, the way we now behave after being called is what really matters. Are we going to be humble that we may learn from him? Are we going to say that, how are we going to behave? Remember, there is this servant who was brought to work among other servants. And what did he do? He started beating them up, beating everybody, right, right, left, and center, everywhere. He started beating the other servants. Was the master happy? No. So how are we going to behave? Are we going to desire from him that we may get the spirit, the fullness of his spirit? Okay, that we may have the power, we may have the might. Remember, there are some tasks ahead. There is earlier in the week, Tanzambi showed me there is a place I was trying to go through, and I was told you can't pass through here. If the owner finds you here, he'll kill you. And then I went back. And then there is, as I was trying now to go through, I realized there was a building and I couldn't go. There's no way I could go through it. And the man said, another man told me we can pass through here, but he was unable to pass through. Me, I was able to climb. There was a power that I was endued with. I was able to scale that building and move, ahead. I was able to get to scale that building and even go, on with my journey. What I'm saying is there is a power that he wants to endure his solele with. So are we willing? Because it only comes from his spirit. I was listening to a brother a few minutes ago, and this brother was saying that there used to be another pastor. Of course, he was talking about a pastor in a church, but he was saying this man walked with the Tatanzani, and the man would be visited by Malaiki, and wherever because he was an old man, he would only preach for a few minutes, but the message as he was preaching, Malaiki would come around and everybody would be sobbing because of their sins, and they would be repenting and coming to Tanzambi. And he says that man would be served even foodstuffs. Malaiki would bring foodstuffs. Malaiki would minister to him. And even his death was not death, it was a transition. And he said there are some people whom, after walking with the Tanzambi, they are transited. There is transition. It's not death. And even this transition, Tatanzambi informs you. Like Elijah, you are going to, there's going to be transition today for you, Elijah. There's going to be transition for you, Hezekiah. There is going to be transition for you, Musa. You are going to be there's going to be transition for you. Why? Because you have sought the Most High. You have sought Tatanzambi. He has taught you. You have mastered the spirits of deceit. You've mastered the spirit of sight, because sight, by the way, sight is an avenue. Remember also what it says in the book of I think in First John. It talks about the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Where are these gateways for the pride of life, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes? Yeah. So how are you going to overcome this? You're going to overcome through his spirit, the fullness of his spirit, because from his spirit there is understanding and counsel. There is power, there is might that will tell you, although the urge be so strong, you'll be able to master it, because the spirit of power and might has enabled you. You have been counseled the right way. You have been given wisdom the right way, and you'll be able to overcome. This is what he desires for his people. Even the fulfillment and the doing of the law, it's not by flesh. It is not mechanical. It's not being pushed and being coerced. It will come because you have the fullness of his spirit, and the spirit enables you even to do the things you are not able to do before. Where you would say, you know, under normal circumstances, you'd say no, he'll enable you to say yes. And where people expect you to betray him, you will say, I know him, and I've tasted him, and I've walked with him, and he has not done me any harm. So who am I this time to say no? Because these things, earlier in the week, we were sharing with my sister Nyambura, and she was reminding me that we should be prepared even to go to prison for his sake, because there are some people who will not wake up, and there are some spirits that are not on our side. They are fighting us. So are we going to be that strong that we are willing to suffer for his name? Are we willing to, because now it will come, persecution will come from the church, because you can be sure the spirit that we have and what they have is different. You know, we are talking against JC, we are talking about Isaiah Congo, we are talking about Msindisi. And we are saying that Msindisi is one of us. And he was brought so that we can also master the things that were difficult to us. And we learn from him and be enabled, divinely enabled, because we are also gods. I don't know whether I'm making sense, my brother, my sisters. What has happened?
Kembo na Tatanzambi.
we're listening.
Yes.
Mpungu Tolendo, all praises. You know, elder, when you get deep into it, all we can do is sit and listen, because this is something that everybody in this Bantu truth should be prepared for, because as my sister Nyambura once shared with me also, that not everybody is prepared for the truth. You know,
Yeah.
You come questioning religions that have been set in place centuries old. You know, you're coming with new revelations. The Bantu awakening is breaking through the deception of the nations, a cover-up that is centuries in the making, and the truth is being revealed, and there are going to be implications, because whoever set up this system set it up so that a certain nation would fail, you know. And we see these things in Deuteronomy 28. We see these things in Revelation, because even when he's talking to the church of Smyrna, he says, to the church of Smyrna, write this: I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and they are not, but they are the synagogue of Satan.
Yes. Yes.
But persevere to the end. In this perseverance, mastery of these 7 spirits,
yes,
gets you to the finish line. And how repentance been a gift for Bana Beto, Betwabu, Bana Beto, all the Bantu, and we talk of those in the Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Hispanic, Afro-Asiatic. If it's Afro, it is Bantu. If their ancestors were taken on slave ships, it is Bantu. And this is a reality that is coming out. And it's coming out in volumes that are unprecedented. Truth, if we can say we are back in the age of the prophets, because he has poured out his spirits. Truth to the world in Joel 2:32, I will pour out my spirits. You see your sons testifying. You're a son of Muntu, Elder Lehanganye. I see his daughters prophesying. I see Jane. I see Nyambura prophesying, because this is what he said he will do. Things that were established from the beginning of time. And it's so amazing when these revelations come, because, you know, the doctrine of prosperity has been taught to Banabeto, you know, where they're supposed to sit and expect everything will be willy-nilly. Like it's a contract where you're only supposed to show up. I don't believe there's any contract that can be stipulated where your only term is to show up. You have to play your part, keeping the commandments. We've been going through this. We continue asking Banabeto, Ungubani, who are you? You should know thyself. Today was supposed to be the inaugural ancestral day. A lot of the Bantus have been accused of worshiping ancestors. So as you close up this session for us, Elder Lekanganye, what word do you have to those that say the Bantu worship their ancestors vis-a-vis Abraham, Isaac, and Yakubi? Take it away.
Now I will take them to the book of Hebrews. I will take them to the book of Hebrews. So that we may close that bit. Sorry, in the book of Romans 12, sorry. Romans 12. That's where I will take them, because let's see.
That will be Romans 12.
Just a minute. There is a scripture I'm looking for, and kind of not found. I need to get it so that I quote rightly. So okay, it is Hebrews 12, sorry. Hebrews 12 says, wherefore seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Okay. Now, there has been a cloud of witnesses. There are